But here's the thing, like, nobody is going to YouTube and searching that. And if they are, you don't want those people watching your video anyway, or hopefully they're like a veterinarian or something, right? They're trying to do some research. That video, those got 255,000 views now. I followed it up with horse part 2. So
This is Brandon Perna. You probably know Brandon better as the host of That's Good Sports on YouTube, where he's one of the most popular football creators on the platform.
Knowing we have no examples of this exact situation makes me nervous.
Today, though, we're not here to talk about football. See, we took Brandon into the No Sports Zone, where we talk to some of our favorite athletes, broadcasters, and sports creators about everything that happens off the field. You know what? I'll let Perna explain.
We're not talking about football, right? I'm not allowed.
No, it's a complete outright ban. No, it's illegal here.
But the Broncos were so good this year. Oh, God. Okay, I won't talk about them, even though they were awesome.
So, Brandon, you have been at this whole YouTube grind a lot longer than any of us. And we've been in this game, I've been in this game for 9 years now. You are very much on that daily grind. You probably upload more than anybody I know, and you've been doing it probably longer than anybody I know. So how would you describe who you are as a creator and what you do to those who may not see you?
I do upload a lot. That is true.
Hi, Brandon Perna here on That's Good Sports, the greatest football YouTube channel that you are currently watching. Welcome to every NFC team's biggest need heading into free agency. The New York Jets weren't just bad. They were historically, somewhat impressively bad.
I think Tom Grossi uploads more than me, so I think I'm chasing his relentless dedication to trying to stick with maintaining on YouTube and sports. And I think that's like the crazy thing about sports is it's relentless. This year too, this season was crazy. There are 10 coaches who were fired. So sometimes you run into the problem where you have too many things you want to try and talk about, right? And then the offseason hits and you are struggling for ideas. But I embrace both of those battles. I like the challenge of both of those things. What was your question?
My question was how you would describe yourself as a creator to those who may not have ever seen you. But I do appreciate the insight into what's making your brain tick right now in this space, especially when there's so much to talk about. I'm lucky I don't even have anything to say about the Jets right now because we've used all those bullets in season of complaining. I'm glad this is a place that we can talk about hitting publish on a YouTube video instead of complaining about quarterback play.
Right.
Tell us about how you view yourself as a creator and how you would describe what you do to an outsider.
Underrated would be a word I would use. A diamond in the rough. A needle in a haystack. Those would be 3 ways. What I like about what we're doing right now is it's like I'm the face of it, right? I wanted to do that. I wanted to be somebody who was humorous while talking about football. That was like the very rough idea. Like, I don't think I'm funny enough to do like a comedy YouTube channel. I don't think I know enough about sports or football specifically to be a football expert. I think I am now, but when I started 12 or 13 years ago, I certainly wasn't. So like maybe I can be a top funny person who talks about football. So that was the premise. And then I don't think I found real success in the space until I started working with my co-writer, Will Keys. And we've been together 7 years, maybe 8 years now. I forget. But that relationship, having somebody else who has a real strength in an area where I would just say very average in writing, like Will has boosted my ability to write. Our scripts have gotten so much better. He's grown so much as a writer. So starting there, the foundation, the scripts, Will and I kind of found our chemistry. And then Johnny Barks came in, who Grossi introduced me to. So it was about like creating the team here, writing. I do the hosting or the shooting or whatever. And then Johnny has helped elevate the editing. And then we added another editor this last year, Connor, who's been great. He did the majority of power rankings this season. So for me, it's just like who I am is really just like who our team is right now. And it's those guys have made me so much better. It's taught me to lean into them and to trust them and to allow their strengths to shine through like my deficiencies and lean into the things that I do well versus like trying to do it all. And I think that's like when people start doing this, when they say, I want to be a YouTuber or whatever, you either have to have some sort of skill set that you can lean on while you figure the other things out. And it's a big task to undertake. And it doesn't mean you can't start small. I think that's where everybody has to start. But as you grow, finding people to help you is, I think, is the trickiest part. But I'm so happy to be working with those guys, and our videos have gotten so much better since they've been here.
Can I ask, how did you end up meeting Will in the first place?
This was, I don't even remember the year Will and I started working together. Will could tell you because he has an actual memory. But there's still a Broncos blog, Mile High Huddle, which I think is part of the Sports Illustrated network now. But the guy who runs that, Chad Jensen, he was writing as a Broncos writer, and he found my videos and he reached out to me, and I was making like some videos for Mile High Huddle, because my YouTube channel was a hobby at the time. So I was doing that as a hobby. Then I was doing a little bit of freelance video work for Mile High Huddle. And then Chad was like, hey, I've got a writer who I just think is a better fit for you and what you do. He's like, your guys' humor is the same. He just asked if he could put us in contact. I wasn't even looking for a writer at that time, but I knew I needed help in some area. Will and I just started writing together, very small. I paid him crap to start because I wasn't making any money, and he hung around, and over years and years of working together, you get good at it, or you grow apart. But I like to think Will and I have grown together like a married couple.
It is amazing you talk about putting yourself down a little bit more than I would like to hear, for especially your early stages, because you've been in this game a while. You worked at Maker Studios back in the day when they were popping. You've had the channel since I was in like middle school practically. So what would you say are the biggest lessons you've learned through doing this for so long? What keeps you going through it through as much has changed in that time? Like, we're not in the Maker Studios world anymore of YouTube. No. What keeps you going through that different era that we're in now too?
There's a lot of things that keep me going. The thing that really pushed me to try and make it work was my wife and I bought this house that we live in. We left LA, we moved to Colorado, we were living in my parents' basement. She was working. We moved out here because she had a job opportunity. She had a great job. And, we were just trying to get settled. And then you buy a house, so that's a big purchase, right? There's a lot of fear that goes into that decision. I was not earning money at the time, and I felt like I wasn't contributing enough, and she was so cool and trusted me to like pursue this. Once you have a mortgage, you kind of don't have, a choice. Sometimes you just got to take that leap. And that was the first thing. And then that kind of starts to work. And we've been through, hurdles along the way. Like, she left her job. We had a child, and like, you kind of just have to figure it out. And when you have a house, you're married, then you bring a kid into the mix. Like, there's no, like, I don't have a choice. I don't even think about like, oh man, is this the grind too much? Or, like, every day it's just, how much can I do? What can I maximize? Let me get this script finished. Let me get this video done. I got to go because we got to get on to the next thing. So I don't even think about that. But through the process of doing all that for your very personal reasons to push yourself forward, which I think everybody has, and they can be different, and you don't have to go get married and have a kid to like motivate yourself. But that fueled me. As the channel has grown, I feel a great responsibility to the community on YouTube, the people who have supported me the whole time. Like, there are Patreon members who have been our Patreon members for, 8 years, 7 years. Like, they have not canceled their $5 or $10 a month donations. We meet once a month in our hangouts, and like making sure that I deliver upon, like, I think the promise of the channel. And that's like, hey, you've established that you're going to talk about the NFL. You're going to cover the major news events. You're going to follow the Broncos closely. You're going to recap all of those games. I've got Broncos fans in there. Like, I don't want to let any of those people down, because without them, the channel is nothing, right? It is, you're nothing without that community there. And if you don't deliver, you start to alienate them, or they just by not being consistent, I think you can be forgotten about so quickly with so many options for entertainment out there that you just got to show up and, not to quote Bill Belichick, but do your fucking job, right? Like, just do it.
Speaking of options, that's another thing that's different from how YouTube was when you first started out on the platform. Like Mike said, I don't want to make you feel too old here, but I was in middle school when you were at Maker Studios, when you were just getting, your own channel started. How do you see YouTube having evolved over the past more than a decade at this point?
YouTube's always changing and evolving, and it's really hard to say like exactly what changes. And it's weird because there's been so many and they have been big, but I'm somebody who's always like trying to look forward, so I don't really reflect on the past or think about it. And maybe that's because of the way football works and how you have to always be thinking about your next video or idea. So I don't really try and focus on like what YouTube's doing versus like just trying to make the best video we can make that day. In terms, I think more so than YouTube, like YouTube's grown, and I think it's the preferred viewing platform for so many people. And part of that's YouTube TV now, in addition to YouTube, plus the NFL's partnership with YouTube with Sunday Ticket. Like the NFL embracing YouTube, I think has been a huge change if you're just looking at sports. I think that the rest of the world, I don't mean the whole world, I mean like advertisers and brands. I think the biggest shift over the last like 15 years since I've been like in the space is how they view creators, where it was for a while difficult for even bigger creators in the space to get brand deals or advertising deals. Like everything was just the YouTube revenue stream, and people were hesitant to put, their marketing budget into creators or influencers, whatever the hell you want to call it. But like now that's just part of how every business operates in terms of businesses that have spending budgets for advertising. And I feel like I kind of did it backwards, and I was able to start earning sponsorship revenue before I was able to really earn any YouTube revenue. I think like knowing that that's a possibility for people where they can build up a small audience, and maybe they're making some money from the YouTube revenue, and YouTube does a really good job, I think, of allowing that opportunity to be there for creators. But once you've got a solid group of people following you, there are companies who will give you money to promote their products. And luckily, like I had to do that right away, and it's a part of every show, and I've got a format that fits in nicely. People expect it. So the other difference would be there are more people out there making content than ever, right? The idea of trying to succeed on YouTube when I was first helping other YouTubers in the space was just a foreign concept to me at the time. I was like, wait, what? This is like, these guys are just making YouTube videos and they're earning insane amounts of money. Like that's wild. But now it's, like what's like the majority of kids want to be like some version of a YouTuber or a TikToker or whatever. And I don't think that's necessarily a healthy thing.
Yeah,
but
I have heard that. I have mixed feelings as well.
We need more doctors and engineers. Damn.
Yeah, maybe it should be like not in the top 10. Not saying it's not a great job, but
it's like one.
Listen, we all
need
love
pilots. I'm not going to be an engineer.
Yeah.
But we do need them. Other people, the kids who have more mental, brain power to handle those kind of jobs, don't waste it on... It's not a waste to go on YouTube. I shouldn't say it's a waste.
No,
Let me catch myself.
Cannot say that. We owe a lot to the YouTube audience.
You're very hypocritical of us, right?
No, but support doctors, I think, should be the point of that. And I'm going to cut it to say...
I do want to fuse the two threads that we had there, though, that were both on my mind. That, like, I think two things that we never could have foresaw in, like, 2011 YouTube are that the kids who grew up loving YouTube are now, like, adults and want to do this. So it started to get more taken seriously because everyone grew up and there was no longer, like, a stigma around being a creator. that was probably the first huge domino that fell, I think, in everyone wanting to do this viably, is because the kids who grew up watching Ray William Johnson's Maker Studios videos are now us. And then the other thing that happened with that is there are so many more options, which no one saw coming, like TikTok, Twitch. Like, you could just scroll Twitter all day. There's content on Facebook, and that's the internet alone. Then there's music streaming services, and then the things that were there before, like cable, sports, movies. There's just so much to do now that it is amazing that anybody gets viewership at all on this space, because there is so, like, think about how many ways people can spend their time now if you're the age of like 10 and 50. Like, there is no rhyme or reason or consistency. Like, I'm not gonna when you were our age kind of conversation, but when you were our age, what did you guys do? You like went to the mall, you went to the movies, you watched TV.
Yeah, what was that, back like in the 20th century?
Yeah, I skateboarded outside. I watched TV, like that was my thing. I had a very regimented schedule. It's like Tuesday night, that's Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens. It's like Sunday night, that's The Simpsons, and you know, whatever they're putting before and after The Simpsons. Like, that's how like I consumed everything, and I loved television. And I think you're right. Like, there are people who grew up starting to watch YouTube and YouTubers, and they were young when they were doing it, and now they are, you know, adults. And what I think that the media industry did not foresee happening was those younger people continuing to watch YouTube as they got older. It's like, I think they all thought, yeah, this is just something like the younger generation's doing. And once they get in their 20s, they're going to go and watch, you know, movies and TV shows, and they'll do the traditional media sort of like consumption. And I think that was wrong. I think they also didn't foresee like adults who grew up watching that way start to convert to watch more content through those other platforms. And I think you asked about the big difference, and one I missed was when we were like making videos at Maker. So like 2010 through 2012, 2013, the whole like idea was your video's got to be fast, right? We got to have, like, your video can't be longer than 3 to 6 minutes. Like, nobody's going to sit and watch that here. And like now YouTube, it supports any format you want to watch. They added shorts, you know, a few years ago to compete with those other platforms. But like even before that, short form content, whether that's a vertical video or it's just a 2 to 3 minute horizontal video. Like Tom Grossi's done an excellent job with his reaction videos. That's, you know, between 2 and 4 minutes. There's people who just want to hear about, you know, like the Giants hiring John Harbaugh in that quick span. All of our videos now that we make here, they're like at least 20 minutes long. And those are edited. They've got B-roll. They've got we write through the script. So there's 2 minutes, there's your 4 to 10 minute videos, and 10 minutes used to be long. Like if you're doing over 10 minutes, you're doing long form content on YouTube. And they wanted you to start to hit 10 minutes because they could put more mid-roll ads on there for YouTube, right? Now, 20 minutes is kind of our minimum. Our winners and losers, every episode was over 30 minutes this season. And you've got people who, you know, our live streams are an hour long, Tom and I, then you got your game stream. So you can go from a 30-second to an hour to 2 hours to people streaming for 4 hours. So I think the way YouTube actually cultivates all of those versus, you know, nobody's really watching long form content on Instagram. They might be watching more on TikTok now, but my TikTok got hacked last year and I've just never reactivated it. So I don't even truly know how that functions. Twitter, they want long form content, but that's never worked on there.
The art of being a creator became more of a craft over that time too. It was like, notice how we're kind of at the death of guy talking to webcam with that stuff too, which that was all it was 15 years ago. And it is amazing that you're here for this conversation because you've kind of jacked it a little bit to where it's almost like Daily Show kind of vibes mixed with that. So like you're the perfect person to pick the brain of like the host and presence and personality side of like, you know, putting the you in YouTube while also like being there through it all and understanding how the platform works.
Well, that was like my original like tagline too, was like the Daily Show, but for football and not as good. That was because
I didn't even know that.
vibe. Yeah. So that's a nice compliment. But like, I think you got to persevere because
Absolutely.
I was doing that stuff for a long time and I was not having the same success a lot of other guys were in the space. And if the Broncos don't sign Russell Wilson, I honestly don't know if like my channel is where it's at right now. I'd like to believe like it would continue to grow and it would have been like a steady climb, but that jacked up the growth quickly. That turned me being, where I felt like I was watching everybody else do better than me. And I root for all those guys and I see all of their strengths and what they do well and why like why people gravitated to like Urinating Tree and why they gravitate to Grossi and Coleman and what Adam does with his channel at 5 Points. And I saw what their strength was. And like, I think my whole thing was like, we're doing something that I believe is on par with all these guys, but Will and I would bang our head against the wall. Like, what are we doing wrong that we're not getting the same sort of traction? And you gotta, I think, if you believe you got the format and in your voice and you're producing the quality videos, and we felt like we were doing all that, it's just a matter of time. And finally, that Russell Wilson stuff got more people to come to the channel because of me freaking out about it not working. But then they found the other videos we were doing and they stuck around. So that was very validating, I think. And I've used like this not even a metaphor, but just the example before of that stupid ass, like that poster, that motivational poster. It's like the guy mining and he's like almost to the gold. Like, dude, we were on that. And I was talking to Will and I was like, I don't want to do the winners and losers every week anymore. We were calling it best and worst. I think just switching the title helped, but like, I was like, this is such a pain in the ass to do every week. I'm like, I'm sick of recapping the Broncos games. Like nobody's even watching those recaps halfway through the season because their season's over. I'm like, we got to shift up our whole game plan. And Will, Johnny, and I tried to do these weekly recaps that were if the NFL were a movie this week. So it was like a movie trailer for the NFL. And we did like 2 or 3 of them and they were pretty good, but they tanked. And so I was like, let's just go back to doing our other thing. And then shit hit the fan with Russell Wilson and we got a little lucky there. But like I was trying to figure out how to mimic what Grossi was doing or find like that same sort of accelerated success. And if like Russ didn't get here, like, I don't know if we find it, but we believed in what we were doing and we're like, our videos are good. Just nobody's watching them.
That's a good point about with Russell Wilson and just the Broncos and the NFL in general. Our specific corner of YouTube and the internet is so tied to the sports seasons for the sports that we cover. And for someone like yourself who is so tied specifically to one team, you obviously don't just have to do the Broncos.
Team. I didn't see his background.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's there, Mike, if you look closely. If anyone's listening audio only, I highly encourage them to check out the video because there are some Easter eggs in the background that might tell you who Brandon's a fan of. But to get to the question, how do you kind of manage personally and professionally the fact that you do, to a degree, rely on other parties, sometimes professional athletes, doing certain things, being successful or not successful in some cases for your own channel success?
I think you just got to trust that something's going to pop up. I think last offseason was a really good example of, I think, where fear kind of set in for the first time in a while in terms of growth and just your video to video performance, the things that you as running your own YouTube channel really focus on. It's like, oh no, these videos aren't doing as well as they were last year. It's the same recipe, but people aren't eating it up. So like this last off season, we kind of hit that. And I knew I was prepared for it because the off season before was great, but that's because the Broncos were going to draft a quarterback. A bunch of teams needed a quarterback, and there was a really good quarterback draft class. You had Caleb Williams, you had Jaden Daniels. So we did videos on all of those players, and they all did well. And the interest in all of those teams fan bases. You had the Bears fans interested in football in free agency and the draft. And the more interest you have from bigger market teams heading into free agency or the draft, that's better for you as a creator. And then the Broncos did get Bo Nix, and like, so all of that went really well. Last year, I'm like, Denver doesn't need a quarterback, so the interest is going to be lower. The quarterback draft class is not nearly as sexy, so I thought. And so like there was a lull from like February and March. Our free agency videos, those always do well. Like we've got that locked down, but the in-between was, I was like, shit, it's reality's coming back. This is where our channel really is. We no longer got the Russell Wilson. Everybody's going to laugh at us. Like the offseason before, when Denver signed Zach Wilson to just be on the roster, I made a video about Zach Wilson coming to the Broncos, and it did, it was like 400,000 plus views. I'm like, this is for a reserve.
The Jets backups for attention.
Yeah. Jets are great for views.
They are.
So I felt the reality. I was like, this is a better gauge of where I think the channel's actually at in terms of, you don't have that extra sauce on your team. And that was true. And then the draft happened, but then Shedeur Sanders fell in the draft, right? And so I was like, oh God, like as soon as he's drafted, we got to get a video up about him falling in the draft. And then that was, I think, our best video last year. It's just reacting to Shedeur Sanders and piecing together all the information we were getting. So there was no way to tell that he was going to fall that far. We knew, he might fall out of the first round. That'll be interesting. But like, that was a gift given to us. And we're luckily in a spot where after time, you can identify those things and capitalize on them. And now I'm going into this next draft. I'm like, oh God, there's going to be nothing interesting that happens. The quarterbacks coming in aren't sexy. We all thought this was going to be the sexy quarterback draft. We thought Arch Manning would be coming out. And now it's like, we got Fernando. And then like, how are we going to survive April? And we might not. It might be bad, but in May, Antonio Brown floated me through May and June a few times. Like there's always something that you can make an interesting video about. And if there's not, what Will and I have done really well, I think, is deep dives into longer videos. So we did a thing on the Cowboys in the 90s, and that did well. We did a thing on ESPN in the year or two before that. So if the sports news cycle isn't giving you something, it's like just focus on the ideas you really want to pour more time into. And they might not succeed right away, but if it's a good video, like I think YouTube does a good job of making sure people eventually find it.
I do have to take issue. I find Fernando Mendoza personally pretty sexy.
Yes.
LinkedIn zone.
But
I mean, that's one guy.
It is just one guy, and I guess, as a draft class, he can't carry it with his own own riz that he's got going on there, whatever you want to call it.
He doesn't have 4 other guys that are going to be highly touted. There's like 1 or 2.
Right.
We're getting dangerously close to sports talk, though.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But it does sound, Brandon, like you've done a good job of, yes, consistency and just diligence and sticking to what you think works, but you've also been able to pivot and be flexible with your content. Like you said, going to some more sort of like evergreen stuff when the news cycle is slower. Do you think that's something that you've kind of always had like an appreciation for, or is that something you've kind of had to like learn through trial and error of like, I would assume it's the second one, but maybe you can tell us.
Yeah. No, I think like I was probably too stubborn early on, and I was stupid, right? Like titling, thumbnails, all that stuff. I didn't really care about it. I was like, people are going to respect our work because they'll find it. I'm like, no, they won't.
No,
they won't. Like, I think there's this, well, it's funny because like an example I like to cite is when we were just doing Broncos videos, and then I moved back here, and I was like, I can go to the stadium, I can interview like fans and make some videos, and like we did some of those, and you shoot a bunch of stuff, and then I'm like, we have a couple videos here, and one of those videos I titled Horse Penis, and this guy brought like a replica of the Broncos like horse, and you put it up like at his tailgate, and they had a molding of the horse penis, and I interviewed the horse penis. And I'm like, I'm just going to title the video that.
Did you stay monetized?
I think it's still monetized.
Oh my God.
What year was this? Can I ask?
It was yesterday.
2015, 2015, 2016, I think.
Okay. Still
Unless
a
I
little.
shot that when I was like visiting. I can't remember.
So still a little bit of the Wild West of YouTube, somewhat.
The very end of 2016 is the end of the Wild West.
Yeah. Before they started cracking down on horse penis type content.
Yeah,
Oh my
but I mean,
God.
it's not a real one. It's it's a statue.
Exactly.
That doesn't matter.
No, Mike, I think there's a definite difference between a real horse penis and a statue of one. I think, for one, a real one wouldn't have been allowed in the stadium in the first place.
Or on YouTube.
Unless the Broncos were cool.
I followed it up with horse penis part 2. So
Oh my God.
If it works,
this
it
was
works.
12 years ago, but here's the thing: like nobody is going to YouTube and searching that, and if they are, you don't want those people watching your video anyway, or they're hopefully they're like a veterinarian or something, right? They're trying to do some research. That video, those got 255,000 views now. Now, at some point, it hit some spot in the algorithm, okay? Like, at some point. But, like, that video tanked. So what I'm saying is, I was like, this is a funny video title. I think it's funny. That's the only reason I'm going to title it this. In no way would I approach it that way now, is what I'm saying. And, like, yes, I learned from those types of mistakes. Like,
what do you think you would title it now if you had to?
Giant horse.
Okay.
Man talks to giant horse.
All right.
Parentheses gone bad. Cops called. All caps.
Listen, it has been wonderful picking your brain about you who you are as a creator, but you and I both know you are a lot more than that. So I would like to showcase now to the audience that you are more than the title and thumbnail guy of Horse Penis. So the first thing I think about you that kind of drifts a little bit off the YouTube course, but stays enough in it that it's relevant to our conversation. You have a coffee brand that you promote in the content. You love coffee so much that you make and sell it. Would you like to tell us about that? And would you like to tell us about your love for coffee? And I remember last time I spoke to you about it, you were gracious enough to help me with a research project I had to do for grad school.
Nice.
And now that we are out of that and we can now have a similar conversation in front of the world, tell us about Benchwarmer Brew Coffee.
Yeah, that was that came about because a friend of mine from Maker Studios, he left there after like Maker sold to Disney, and he was pretty high up in the pecking order there. So he moved back home, and then he started his own business, and I just saw him post on LinkedIn about it, and that like he was building basically a coffee business for creators. And apparently at the time there was some sort of like, I don't want to call it like a boom, but there were multiple people kind of thinking down that line. I was not aware of that, but I was a fan of coffee, and I saw that he started that business. I was like, oh, let me reach out to him. And he was hesitant because coffee is hard to sell. And really, he was targeting, creators, because my channel was still smaller at the time, where he normally works with certain creators. Like one of the brands they help do is Top of the Morning through Jack Skeptic-Eye.
Jack Septiceye. This is where the age difference is coming in here.
Yeah. Yes. So, and their brand's huge, but like, I was like, look, man, I love coffee. I want to sell a product that I'm really proud of and that I like. And their thought behind doing coffee versus merch, and now we do both, but it's like you buy a shirt once or twice maybe. Coffee, like if you like it, you're gonna keep buying it. You're gonna come back for more, and that's kind of like the thought behind it. But the margins are tight. It's harder to sell. You realize quickly not everybody loves coffee as much as you do, and even if somebody's a coffee drinker, doesn't mean they're gonna drink good coffee either. Like some people are just happy with a giant thing of Folgers or whatever, and I get that because coffee's not cheap. So that's like, I had to kind of convince him to let me do it. And he was like, look, you probably need to bring in some other guys to help make it viable. And so that's why like Urinating Tree has a coffee with us. Adam from 5 Points does. Cole's got one. Tom doesn't drink coffee. Scooter and I have kind of talked about it, but I'm like, dude, like ask Adam and Steve. They're hard to move. Like you got to promote that all the time. And Cole from HBTC, he reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm a huge coffee drinker. Could I make a commercial for your coffee? And then I was like, yes, of course. And I was like, oh, this dude's like a legit video guy. And so like my background's in editing. I was like, this guy's, he's a videographer, like he knows his stuff. And then Cole and I started talking about coffee. I already knew about his channel, and then that's how like he kind of got in. But it's really got the business is done better when we added this. So I needed a gimmick, like, and I'm not like that. Coffee's really good. It's a bold roast. It's a dark bold roast. It's very good coffee, but the gimmick's what people bought. And then people are like, oh, this coffee's actually good too. I was surprised. I'm like, thanks. Thanks for thinking I would sell you crap. But then we expanded. We just moved our merch to the coffee website because the company my friend was running, they were growing and expanding, and they had the capabilities to do that, which is nice because I think I was doing everything through Teespring, and then Rachel's cursed logos. Like people really gravitated to those, so that we put the cursed logos on shirts, and that's what those have done really well. So it's always like an evolving process. So when I started with just doing a couple coffee blends, like I wasn't envisioning the shirts and stuff coming into it, but that's a huge part of our business and how we do that. But yeah, it just started with like being passionate about drinking coffee, and like this morning I was up at 4:30 and couldn't sleep, so I pounded through a lot of that today.
What's the standard coffee order that people need to know?
Like for me?
Yes. The coffee guy.
Oh, I don't really order coffee. I just make it here at home.
Well, I should have thought of that. I just realized. But if you're going to a place in public and you got to pick up coffee, what are you asking for?
If I'm going, like if I'm at Starbucks, I'm just getting an Americano. I'll just get an Americano and I'll put a tiny bit of cream in it. I don't like flavored coffees. We have one flavor. Then this is another stubborn thing, right? Like people like flavored coffees. I don't. So I'm like, I'm not gonna sell flavored coffees. Other people want that stuff.
Yeah, it works.
You got to get past like your own like hiccups. You know what I mean?
I'm a cold brew guy, and so I'm gonna bang that drum as saying that's the starting point for me. I'm pretty new to the coffee game though, so I definitely feel like I'm not qualified to weigh in with the guy who sells several brands of coffee. But it is interesting to know what your starting point is, because I also like very recently tried an Americano for the first time, like maybe 2 months ago. So now I feel validated.
Yeah, it's just a espresso and water, right? Like
even so, I was like, oh, this is good, because I'm very particular about my sweet drink habit. Espresso is generally too bitter for me. My vice is well documented is sweet drinks. So I'm glad that I found something that works there. And hearing that that's also what you get as a standard thing makes me feel a little better.
What's your favorite coffee then?
Me?
Yeah. What's your standard
I would
order?
say I love, give me like a cold brew, there's some oat milk in there, and like vanilla and caramel, sweeten it up a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm crushing that. Dylan, what about you?
I'm sorry, Brandon, I'm also not a coffee drinker over here. I've got, right now, this is not a sponsor, yerba mate.
Yeah.
This might be revealing me as like a Los Angeles resident, because I don't know if they sell it. I've only found one store in New Jersey, that's where I'm from, that sells it, and it makes me feel like I'm losing my East Coast edge when I come out and ask for, it's a tea. If anyone watching has no idea. But that's my source of caffeine right there.
It makes you feel better. This is what is now cold chocolate. Like when I got it, it was a hot chocolate.
Hey, that's valid. I mean, it's the winter time, and we don't need to tell people that you're in Florida. So
I'm wearing layers here.
Exactly.
The cold front too. Not you guys, but speaking of the cold front, Brandon, you are a Colorado guy. That is probably one of the places in this country I've never been to that I would like to go to. So how would you review your thoughts on the seemingly lovely state of Colorado for someone who's never been.
Colorado is lovely. You said cold front, but it has been the warmest winter I've ever experienced here. We have had almost no snow. The mountains are in actually pretty bad shape right now with their snow pack because the drought's been so bad. So if you want to come and ski, I would suggest postponing until you get better ski reports because it's terrible right now. And there's going to be a lot of people in other states who are going to like Arizona, California that rely on our water from the Colorado River. Very disappointed. But other than the drought right now, I've lived in Colorado, I've lived in Kansas, I've lived in California. It's my favorite place. It's a good mix of, you've got so many things you can do outdoors if that's your thing, right? You can ski, you can hike, you can camp. Denver's a great city. There's so many fun mountain towns in the summer or winter. Like, I don't know, man. There's so many things to do here. And I'm a terrible person to ask, though, because I stay down here in this basement. Like, so much of my life is just like working. And then when I'm done working, it's just hanging with Jess and Carmi, my wife, and my daughter. So I probably don't utilize enough of the cool things Colorado has to offer, but I vouch for it.
Are you a winter sports guy? Have you
skied,
snowboarded in your earlier days?
Yeah, my snowboard stays mounted in my garage.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not an easy sport on the body. I've never been brave enough to even attempt it. I'm also not from a place that we have a whole lot of ski slopes. I guess I could go up to the Poconos or somewhere like that in New Jersey. But good on you for even attempting it and doing it at some point in your life, because we talked to another guest earlier who skateboarded. That's another thing. Anything that involves a board and balance, I think my center of gravity is off or something, because it terrifies me to no end and I fall off before I'm even on the board. So good on you, Brandon, for just taking that risk, because it's a scary thing. If the snow does come back, and knock on wood, hopefully we can see you out there again, because I think everyone would love an on-location, maybe vlog from the channel. Maybe you could tie it in with the Winter Olympics here. Just pitching.
Yes.
I'm pitching some video ideas at you.
Yeah.
What I'd love to see as a viewer. If people start to ask for, hey, football season's over, can we get some off-season content? That is an idea.
I intend to snowboard every year.
Intend is probably the key word there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, look, this February I'm going to get up there, and then I get busy, and I'm like, well, I don't want to actually drive 2 hours up into the mountains on the weekend to go snowboard when it's busy. And then I'm like, but I don't have any time during the week because we got so many videos to make. And then May comes. I'm like, shoot, I never made it up. Now the snow's gone.
Cat's in the cradle, but for snowboarding.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a staple of Colorado that you would want a tourist to try or see or experience if and when the day comes that I experience this lovely state?
Just all the glory that is Denver International Airport.
Yes, I wanted to ask about that. Do you have? Okay, so is it haunted, or is it a secret government facility, or is it both? And what's the deal with that horse statue? I know that's like three questions, but can you just tell us a little bit about that?
I think it's all of the above. I think the ghosts haunt the secret government that works under there. That's why we never have actually been able to find the secret government that works there. They're battling the ghosts at all times. The horse Lucifer is certainly cursed because he killed the artist that was sculpting him. So that's the story behind Lucifer. It's a weird looking horse with these weird glowing orange eyes. And that airport is it's a nightmare. It's too big. It's huge. There's so many planes that go in and out of it. It sucks. I would much prefer a small airport, but I think everybody needs to go through that. They need to experience the pain of it. It's not the worst airport, but
what is? I have a very locked in answer here. I have a very firm answer on what the worst one is, so I'd like to hear yours.
I lived in LA for a while, and LAX was always under construction, and that always seemed like a nightmare. But
yeah, I can confirm that it still is in 2026.
LaGuardia sucked when I was there, but...
Think a little further south for what my bone to pick is.
Is it Atlanta? I know that one's huge.
I don't mind Atlanta. It's just big. I do a lot of layovers there, so I don't navigate it now. Those who know me long enough know that I will devolve into complaining about the Newark airport.
I was going to say Newark.
If you know me long enough, you've heard me complain about the Newark airport. That's a conversation for another day. But when you tee up bad airports that give you bad experiences, and that's kind of is your whole identity, because Denver's whole identity is people think it's like where the Illuminati live. I think of that.
It is where the Illuminati live, Mike. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is serious stuff. No, I agree with you on Newark, so tell me, can you give us, like, at least a few hints as to why it's so bad?
I don't really have good... I'm sure that the people there are generally fine when they're not being mean at the desk to me, but I've never had, like, a comfortable experience there, and I used to live in Jersey, so I've used it a lot, so a big sample size of never, ever actually having a comfortable trip there. If we go into that conversation, we're here double the length, and we probably do have to start respecting Brandon's time and letting him go shortly. So I will spare that.
You mean you don't want to sit here and talk airports with us for the next, like, 3 hours, Brandon?
3 hours? Yeah. No, I'd rather just get on the flight at that point.
Why did they start talking about airports?
What's the deal with airline food? Yeah. I can't believe nobody's covered that. Did Jerry Seinfeld ever actually make an airport food or airplane food joke, or is that something that we've put on him?
I think that's a good question. What's the deal with airline food? Whatever. Like, it's like making fun of how Seinfeld's intro starts. I don't know if he actually says that.
Because there's a lot to make fun of him for, and I don't want to, as...
No one brought that hair back since the 90s. Like,
I know.
Brandon, did people have Jerry Seinfeld's hair back in your day? Besides
adult men did. I don't know what happened to the keep it long and like curly in the back, you know, and not even a mullet, right? It's not a mullet.
No,
like Tim Allen had it for sure.
It was kind of a pompadour.
Yeah,
mix.
We need that back bad.
I mean, it kind of only works on Jerry Seinfeld's head. I feel like, in a way, he's got such a specific.
Had it, Tim Allen had it. You just look at 90s sitcoms and you'll find a ton of those haircuts for the male lead, the dad, like all that. No, just like hair like grew different, just like grew out and fluffy, and then they kept it a little bit shorter up here.
Yeah, we could also go the Kramer route and just have it.
Yeah, it's a little more like
when my hair gets too tall.
Exactly, that's great. You're giving a little Charlie Day right now, Brandon, with that hair from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's
I feel
a compliment.
Like.
Yeah. I think one of the funniest.
He's a good-looking guy.
One of the funniest TV comedic actors, I think, Charlie Day.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about getting off track? If we start on It's Always Sunny, I'm going to
do not start with him, please.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We'll be here all day.
I had to slip in a reference there, but you did legitimately give, I think the mustache, the scruff and the hair all together is giving a good Charlie Day. So if you ever want, another job as an impersonator, I don't know how much of a market there is for Charlie Day impersonators, maybe on like the Vegas Strip, Hollywood Boulevard. It's like Darth Vader, Spider-Man. It's like, hey, I'm Charlie Day. Not from the show, just the actor Charlie Day. No, not him either. Just pretending to be the actor Charlie Day. I feel like it's not going to make any money, but could be fun.
No, I wish I could match his voice and his tonal inflection.
Hey, Pepe Sylvia. No, we're going too far. This is what I'm talking about when I say we're going to get off track. Mike, do you have anything that can save us here? Because I will be losing my mind if we go any further down this road.
Yeah, Brandon, do you have any closing thoughts and things to plug?
No, just YouTube. That's Good Sports. Please find it.
You heard it. Follow him there. Everyone listening, watching.
Brandon, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me and letting me ramble about
That's
YouTube.
What this is all about. Is we ramble with good people about things they don't normally ramble about. I'm very proud that we do that here. So
I appreciate it. Next time, I will ask you guys more questions.
Oh, absolutely. Sign me up for that.